In this video, we'll talk about the UI UX design process. Now, as we discussed this in the past, each and every business and the client is going to have a slightly different process, and we're going to need to adapt to the specific business goals and requirements. However, what you're going to notice is that there are going to be some common patterns, and in this video we're going to talk about these patterns from a high level. Now, sometimes you're going to be hired and you're going to be involved in all of the process, but other times you're just going to take charge of one part of the process. But nonetheless, it's really important to understand the bird's eye picture. So let's get started with the very first area. So let's get started with the very first stage, which is the understanding phase. And this stage is all about understanding the context in which you're operating, so understanding the business and understanding the target market. So from a high level, you want to get information such as what is their problem that they're trying to solve, and you won't necessarily have the solution right away, but you definitely want to understand the base goal of the company. And you also want to understand how this project is going to align with their brand and what are the implications of this specific project. Now, the second stage is going to be the research phase, and that is where elements such as one-on-one interviews with their users or even focus groups or surveys are going to come into play. And the reason being is that you really want to understand what the user is facing as a problem, or maybe what a new feature or a new service they're looking to get from the specific company. So sending a survey with an email blast, for example, can be definitely a good way to get some data at scale in a fast and efficient way. But even better would be a one-on-one interview with a few users. You don't necessarily need a lot of them in order to really get a feeling, but just a couple, between even like 5 and 6 interviews, are really going to give you a lot of valuable data that you're then going to use in the next stages. Now, the first stage is the analysis stage. And this is where you're going to use assets such as user personas or user flows, so that you're going to be able to group together everything that you learned so far in an easy and single source of truth, which can also be shared with other team members which weren't involved in the previous stages, in order for you to be in line with them in a very fast and efficient way. Now, the fourth stage is the design stage, and this is where you're going to create the wireframes, the initial mockups, ideas, and then you're going to move on to the UI design and really bring those wireframes to life with color, typography, the layout, and all of the assets and elements which you need in order to really bring a product to life in an efficient way. Now, the fifth stage after this one is going to be the launch phase. And this is the most exciting part, because you're actually launching your product to the marketplace, and you're going to receive the inputs, and you're going to see if what you created is actually resonating and solving that problem with the users. And that brings us to the very next and last stage, and that is the analysis stage. And this is where you're going to see if you actually solve that problem for the users, or that new feature that has been launched is actually useful and is actually tackling the issues that the user was facing. And at this stage is all about increasingly improving the product or service, and really trying to make gradual and incremental updates in order to bring it to the next level continuously. And this phase really goes on forever until a new project comes along. So at this stage, you might do things such as A/B testing in order to see what page is going to bring the most amount of conversion. If you have created, for example, 2 home pages, you can just split test them. And essentially what this means is that out of 100 visitors that are going to land on a specific website, 50% of them, so 50, are going to see version A and 50 are going to see version B. And then you're going to see the data as to which one is going to convert, which one is going to receive more clicks, and you can essentially go along these lines for a lot of different tests, and you can create dramatic improvements in the results simply by doing things like this. And there's a lot of softwares out there that allow you to do these tests in a fast and efficient way. So this is it when it comes to the overview of the UI UX design process. Again, each and every client, each and every business is going to be structured in a different way, and they're going to have different needs. So with time, you're going to understand how to create the best solution which is tailored for your client. So this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.